Good morning, Facebook. Just let you know, if you're not in the office today, you will be visiting this information on a recorded basis. I will check your comments later, but during the session, if you join in, I won't see your comments until after the session has ended. But that means next week, you should join all these lovely humans and join us on the live session in the office. But we're glad to have you no matter what. I'm going to go ahead and share our screen. You're not going to see me anymore, but you will see a screen in front of you. So one moment, Facebook away. All right. So they should be able to hear us, just can't see us. Wow, check this out. What's up, Couchy? Hey, Craig, you gonna join us?
Got you paid to join?
Only you, my friend.
I'll sit in and see.
If you'd like to sit in, if you want me to get you a comfy chair,
No,
or do you want to sit on the couch?
no, I'm fine.
Oh, my friend. All right, so we're gonna do a fun sound off our roster, even though you all did it already. We had a few more people join, and we're just gonna start right here with me. Oh, because you're so lovely, and I never get to see you anymore. And you're just gonna say your name and go down the line, and that way everybody knows everybody really fastly. If you're all early, I know you're ready to go. But Wendy Bland,
Michael Stream.
Rebecca,
Michael Buffett.
Lucinda McDonald, Sarah Edwards,
Dave Odette.
Jenna Helzer, Nadia McBeal, Kathy Van Fredenden, Aaron Lyle. Sarah in the back.
Thanks, Sam.
And Mandy, all present and accounted for. That is fabulous. We're gonna call this training to order. No, I'm just messing with you guys. Robert's rules, only one person speaks. Today, I really, look, I know we have a brand new contract that just came out. It was in your newsletter. If you did not click through your newsletter, please do so. But I'm saving that goodness for next week, okay? I would love it if you started using the brand new real estate purchase contract that was just released on Saturday. I would love it if you use the updated buyer's inspection. So we're gonna dig really deep into that next week on Monday and on Tuesday in the office meeting. I do realize for those of you that are here, and thank you, Sarah, for the heads up, I'm like, she knows things. And then I go back and I look and I was like, oh, it's because I'm confusing. Which means you read the newsletter. Did you get the newsletter?
I don't believe,
Yeah.
I left my, email with you, but.
All right, I'll make sure that you get that today.
I don't think
I'm like, should have, but I don't think you did. So what's cool is that when I make a mistake, which is not every week, knock on wood, and you call me out on it, and I go at first, I'm like, dang it, what did I do wrong? And then I'm like, yay, they're reading the newsletter, so they can. And then it gives me a reason to re-engage. Hey, I messed up. And you know what's great about that element? It's something I think we take for granted on our expectation base every day. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is expectations of sellers and how to overcome the compensation discussion. We're going to do all of this within 50 minutes somehow. But you guys do realize you have to be a human before you're the professional. The human side of you is what attracts people who use you. You messing up is not the end of the world because can we fix it? Yeah, and so sometimes Wendy, my perfectionist, just teasing you. Well, now Michael. It's okay because we're not messing anything up that's gonna harm somebody. Like I didn't harm you by putting Wednesday instead of Tuesday, right? But it was a mistake, and I might have if I didn't get caught on it. And my friends would say, "Hey, Mandy, you made a mistake." I could have next week when you're like, "Well, it said Wednesday, and I didn't read the date." And some people read the date and they didn't read the day. So because I caught it so fast. So just know in real estate, as long as you catch your mistake, you're okay. Which is not like my mom's profession. Something to talk about all the time, right? Like if my mom uses it, it's not okay. It is bad. So we want to make sure that you guys always know how to attract client base is you have to be a human before you're the professional. Just be you. Because that's why they're using you, or they would all use Michael because he has these really cool new business cards.
they have a box.
That's my Buster card.
God. Hey, friend, you get to say your full name.
Everyone's changed my name to Marcy.
I know, that's what I'm gonna let you do. Marcy, what?
We're dropping the egg. Marcy Jean Bridget Schaefer.
There you go, and this is why I let y'all intro yourself. Because I can call her like 5 different names and I know she'll say yes. Now one thing also, we're doing expectations today. This month, we are very blessed to have Marcy hosting what we call an improv class. An improv class for realtors. We're gonna do it gamification of how to stay in front of people and keep them connected and understand the importance of how you communicate. So when you see that come out, sign up for it. We're gonna do it upstairs in that pretty room, and it's gonna be an afternoon thing, so it could be some fun. And I'll probably have candy to give you a sugar high. Yay! Okay.
Get ready to laugh the whole time. Okay.
Should real estate be really heavy?
No.
Did it feel really heavy in real estate school?
Yeah.
Because you were like, you guys I know, Erin, I'm crazy. I'm stuck with my family.
Good today, I mean.
I'm sweet and green, shoot. Like, no one does that.
Well, Mandy, wasn't afraid of the test, because I'm a faculty. I do test all day.
Yeah.
But what I was afraid of is all the load of law.
Right,
And violation is crazy scary to me. So.
but they make it like,
Stressful.
and the people above you, and they make it a hierarchy in real estate when people talk about real estate. Like there's the agent, and you guys are the bottom floor. You don't really matter, because the broker with the slam schedule is the one that actually matters. And then they don't really matter, because then there's an owner and they matter. And then they don't really matter, because there's a board of directors and they matter. And guess what? None of them matter, because there's something called the feds, and they make sure we know that we're not in charge. And then there's the association world. So then they keep these realtors in school. They make you feel like you're here. So your expectation level is, please help me. I'm just so thankful for you. Where in turn, they should flip it around and flip it upside down. And you guys are actually on top, and we're all thankful for you. Right? So it's all really light, actually, because if you freak out going, oh my God, am I being lawful? Should you feel like you can pick up the phone as the expectation that you should pick up the phone and call, say, hey, I need help. And should your expectation be someone should be on the other line and tell you how to move forward? Because if it feels icky, could it be wrong?
Yeah.
Right. If it feels icky though, is it always against the code? No, sometimes we're just, our value system is a little up here and the code, we're like, we really need to upgrade. But at the end of the day, we're all in it together. So today, when we set expectations, I want you to remember what it was like in school. I want you to remember feeling the pressure of not knowing that next step. Because when you walk into a seller's home, if you don't make it easy to understand, if you don't clearly communicate an expectation level, see, you're creating the whole communication stream, they will feel completely overwhelmed even with you in the mix. And if that's the way it is, why didn't they do it on their own? Right? So our job is to make it where when you're feeling overwhelmed, Mr. and Miss Seller, call me. I am your sounding board. No matter what I give you today, there will be times where like, let's hurry up. Because you're ready to move on to your next chapter. So how do you keep them involved and gamify the process and show them illustrations and show them facts? To keep them knowing that you are on the right screen. Because 45 days in, with no offers, how does that feel to a normal seller? How does it feel to you? You take a listen, 30 minutes later, you have no calls and you're like, what the heck, right? Right, a weekend, we're all like price reductions, let's go. But that's because we just came out of 2 years of frenzy. I want you to know during the boom, when we went to the short sale market, things were still moving. We still got 2 to 3 offers per deal, per house. After the short sale market, when we stabilized, and it took 45 days to get an offer, 2 days in, as the professional, I'm not telling my clients this, but inside I'm like, what else could I be doing? I wake up every day saying, when I have a listing, what else could I be doing today to move this listing today? So can you only imagine what the seller who's ready to be in that next chapter feels like? So how are we slowing our communication status? Because when we reduce every 2 weeks, when a market is 45 to 60 days active, you're doing nothing but cutting your seller's throat. Because it's just the right buyer, if you're priced right, if you can justify the price point, might not have found the property yet, right? And so we always want to think about these things. So today, we're gonna go through a few ways. And do you agree or disagree that it's our job to set the tone and the expectation?
Yeah.
Agree, 110%. Do you realize they have no idea what you do when you have this professional hat on? But that's the reason you're walking in that door. Right? You're walking in that door to make a game plan. You're walking in that door to be that coach for a listing. And so when agents go, but, what if, you create the what if. See, if you would it yourself through today's presentation and things you could be doing, right? Not bad, because this is a safe space. But if you do it in the listing presentation, they're gonna doubt you too. Because they can watch you doubt yourself. So that's why you just have to know, if you go in with the tools to succeed, you will set a tone of positivity. And when you have the fear factors hit you, I need you to know that I'm under you. That you're supposed to pick up the phone and call me. That is your expectation of me. Do I return my calls the same day? Waiting for it. Yeah. Or do I have someone in the newsletter that'll answer their phone the same day? Yes, or do you have 9 other managing brokers, cell phone numbers that you can call at any time if you can't reach me? Yeah, because I want to give you all the time, right? But if it's a contract issue or you're losing a deal, there have been agents that call me at 9 o'clock at night. And they're like, Mandy, I need to issue a cure. And I'm like, I've done it before 5. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna help them issue a cure. Because that's setting an expectation moving forward, and that's a whole day I'd be cutting off, right? If we didn't get that out by midnight. So unless I'm sleeping, I'm here to support you guys. So with knowing that you're there to support the seller that we're gonna be talking about today. Cool. Craig, anything you want to add so far?
I'd
You always have
like to
something.
just throw one thing in there. A lot of times we enter the listing appointment in our own form of stress. Because we're there trying to get the listing, we're trying to be on top of our game. But we're also walking into a room with sellers whose stress level is up here. And we need to be the calming influence, the stress reducer versus adding more stress to the pot.
Thank you, Craig. And you know what topic is very stressful right now for your sellers? Buyer contingency. They are selling to buy a bigger home finally. But now we got time on the market and they don't want to be homeless. So that will be a topic for Tuesday's office meeting. Make sure you come back. Okay. Now, in your your weekly newsletter, every single month you get the market stats. You get this in a visual context, which is 3 of the 4 personalities. Your D, your I, and your S. So your power person, your party person, and your peacekeeper like visual. The C person, which is like 1 in 10 of your clients, wants the actual reports, which is also part of the newsletter, but they want the PowerPoints, they want to see the graphs, right? Everybody else wants a quick glance, and they want to feel like they can trust you. If they didn't feel like they could trust you, number 1, you wouldn't be at their table. Okay, so we get to this. In your README newsletters, the cool thing about this is all of this is editable. You can do it based on just Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, a zip code, a community, and just replug numbers if you wanted. Or you can talk about from this one piece, the overall market. When they say, I've been listening to the news and everything's slowed down and I'm really scared and buying power's down and what am I gonna do? And they're just freaking out a little bit, right? I can use this to say, let me show you what's happening. Also, let me explain to you, if you pull out the one from 2019, you could say the frenzy was the difference, but we're really the same calm market that we were 2 years ago prior to COVID. It hasn't shifted that greatly, but when you look at your mindset of when you decided to sell your home, we have shifted. And when did the shift happen? What month?
May.
Yeah, May. And was it gradual or was it instant? And is that why people are still talking about it in October? And when does the seller decide to sell before they call an agent to start interviewing? Typically 3 to 6 months prior. So they're in a different mindset. I just had some past clients call me, that want me to come out and check their house out, and they're convinced that it's like 450. It's MC 85, you guys know where MC 85 is? It's the way to Mexico. Okay. It's 198th Avenue. And it's 1,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. They built it in 2017. And you know what? In March of 2022, they were right. In October of 2022, we're at 395. And that's only if they did the landscaping in the backyard in the last 5 years. And we all know when you go, that's like, maybe. So we'll know this weekend. It might be 385. But their mindset is March. When the reality is we saw the prices adjust. And it wasn't a scary adjustment because markets, as you can see with the $64 million fine to Open Door, were falsely overpriced by the iBuyers and the institutional buyers and sellers. And if I look in their marketplace, I can see how many iBuyers bought and sold in their neighborhood, which takes our market down to what do consumers really want to pay for it, right? And that's the difference, because on the phone, too, something you're gonna have to overcome is, why would I use you? Why wouldn't I just call Open Door? Why wouldn't I just call the other one, OfferPass?
72.
Oh, God.
Well, why wouldn't I just, can you do this in 72 hours? I can tell you a bunch of stuff in 72 minutes, I can definitely sell it in 72 days.
By keeping it coming soon.
Right, so there's so much we could be doing, right? To overcome the objective of 72 sold, I don't need to speak badly about them. All I need to do is have a sheet that states their cancellation rates from MLS. They're the highest listing canceled in our whole marketplace for brokerages. After May. Actually, they've been the highest cancellation all through the frenzy. And you want to know why? Don't speak badly of a listing presentation. Just say something like, I could make you promises, or I could give you guarantees on my survey. Let me know what brokerage you want to work with. I could talk about the what if, or I could talk about what actually the market's doing. Let me know what kind of professional you want to work with. So that's kind of how I just let it go and I don't focus on them as much, but I just say, you know, that is a route you could definitely investigate. I would absolutely tell you, just like you did to me, Google, look up reviews for yourself, reach out to people. But at the end of the day, I'd really like to talk to you about my guaranteed service level. Because that's all I can ever guarantee you is my service level. So I promise you, I will never blow smoke. Because I will never say I can sell your house in 60 days. I will never say I can sell your house in 5 days. Because I don't know. But I can tell you, I'll put 110% of me behind the marketing. I can tell you that my team of professionals, and I'm one of over 3,000 professionals in the Maricopa County area, will be happy to push out your marketing on your listing. Because at the end of the day, we're just happy to serve you as the seller, and we want to make sure you're taken care of, and we can try to hit these expectations and monetary goals you have. And at the end of the day, seller, it's how I overcome all of the other companies. At the end of the day, Mr. and Miss Seller, it's like Bob and Jane or Joe and Sally. I don't know. Usually I try to call them by their last names or however they intro themselves to me. I want to make you more money in your pocket, but you're in full control. So anytime before going under contract, we don't have to move forward with a buyer if you're uncomfortable. You are in charge. You're the boss. I'm here to serve you, but you're the boss. And no one, and they're gonna say something like, no one's ever told me that I'm in charge. Agents just tell me what they want me to do. Now, actually, we're gonna go over pricing in a moment. And when we go over pricing and we start looking at the statistics, I'm gonna tell you exactly where I think you should be. Why? Because I abide by a code of ethics. And in that code of ethics, in Article 11, just have the code of ethics in your little pamphlet, do not pull it out and read it. It states that I would never puff and I would never over exaggerate a price point just to win. It's my job to just give you the facts, but it's your house. Your job to help me determine where you want to price. So I'm going to tell you where I think fair market value is, where I think an appraisal will come in, where I really think the price point should be to market and sell your home. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's up to me to decide if I wanna take your listing, but it's up to you to decide where you wanna price your home. Totally reverse it, right? Wouldn't that be how many of you think I really read that script? Thank you. No, I don't read scripts, but I think of bullet points and I think about how would I feel at the table? On the other side of the table. Because it's, well, how do you compare to? Well, I don't really focus on my competition. I focus on what your needs are and I focus on my client. So how can I serve you? Okay, yay. Anybody want to role play any of that?
I just want to ask you a question. So if you were to say that to your clients that want to price it at $450 when it's $385, and you're like, but you get to choose the price, and they'd be like, great, $450.
And then I get to sit there and calmly take a deep breath. And you guys know that's always funny. And I usually, when I'm taking a deep breath, I'm holding my breath. Because it makes it so I don't speak. You don't see it, but that's what happens. And then I say, we could price it at $450. Are you willing to sit on the market and experience another shift? And then I might even, right before I go over here, might even say to them, I appreciate your honesty and this is your expectation. Based on what I provided you, I don't see any of my efforts actually getting me that amount. So I'm only willing to take your listing if you price it under 400,000, but you can hire another professional at 450, and this is why.
What about mentioning, we could do that, but we're gonna definitely need to consider a built-in price reduction in X amount of time if we get zero activity.
I would do that for 10,000. I wouldn't do it for 55. Because we're 65,000, and the reason is because I'm putting my money on the table for marketing.
Right.
I'm putting my name on, and it's not even a reputation, but it's my sign, and my sign costs me money.
Right.
And I'm driving on my gas money, and I don't know about you, but 195th Avenue is very, very far away. And from us now, back then, when I lived in Avondale 7 months ago, I'd be like, oh, just the other way. Now I'm like, far out there. Hello. You know what I mean? So I have to decide my gas, time, and energy away from my family. I get it as my living, but then am I also wanting to sit there because if I let them under my watch of the listing agreement list $65,000 above because they think they're in that marketplace where you light the candle, you make a wish, and you blow it out, and then it comes true. And then they magically have cash to come up with a difference. If I do that, I'm setting the expectation that I actually, in their head, I think I can get that for them. Because I allowed it.
Yeah.
Because I said, yes, now 20,000 above, 10 to 20,000 above, yeah, you could definitely write in the event that there's zero showing for the feedback is that it's overpriced. In 2 weeks, you will reduce it to X amount. Could I have that written instruction? Absolutely. 10 to 20,000, you can pretty much get them back in the game before it's too late. 50 to 60,000, they're just, I don't see it. Yeah, I just don't see it. What's that, not hard?
So regardless of the price or the patient that we discussed up front, sometimes they come to you and they say, well, they will negotiate because I have an old roof, I have stuff, I need to put that buffer. So we can, when they negotiate, I don't want to drop from now, So there's a lot of reason why they are scared to be following the price that you suggest. They always build something in their brain. It's not the cake wishes. It helped me a lot with the discussion with the seller. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. But I love that you brought that up, Jenna, because it's a really big deal, guys, that we talk about. We talk about the difference between deferred maintenance and repairs. People will say, my house just got a new roof and my new roof is 50,000, so I want to add that on top. But that's maintenance.
Right.
So the expectation of any buyer in that community is that the roof won't leak. Let's just say, guys, we want a roof that lasts longer than a year. Or the next monsoon season, right? The expectation is that's maintenance that doesn't add value. But knowing your house needs a new roof, we might need to be talking about how we're going to advertise then, because you're going to have to disclose it. And in this marketplace, there's going to start to be more and more monetary discussions. We've already been having them, but you're going to see more and more, unfortunately, on how do we supplement the difference. So if the new roof is $25,000, right? If they shingles and it's heated and it only had one layer. Yay!
How big is that? That costs 25. reduction and.
25,000, it was like 2,030. Okay. Maybe I
I've
got.
been dealing with a lot of repairs lately and never heard, this is dial. We're
Well,
talking about.
no, I'm talking about
Those
shingles.
are much cheaper.
Yeah, but we also have like solar and stuff. So let's say it's
Okay.
like, cause removal and reinstall is, oh my gosh, that one hurt. So you got 25 grand on the line here and you know the house needs a roof. You're willing to say, hey, I'm not gonna live here any longer, so I'll just see someone halfway on it. Right? Like, we're gonna have to take that off of your next sheet in the beginning. Like, let's talk about this and let's overestimate the amount, right? So then when you make them $10 more, they're excited. Because when you make them $10 less, what are they? Crabby. And when you're in that negotiation, always redoing that net sheet. Always redoing it. So do I have your permission to re-walk you through how to do the 1004 MC report to look at yesterday, a minute ago, today? And then do I have your permission to reteach you the net sheet using MLS? To set expectation. And will you interrupt me along the way if you're lost or if when you have MLS? this is
Yeah.
full.
Yeah, I'm like, huh? I have questions already.
Now you're doing this on Friday?
Yeah.
Friday. And then you guys all know I've been out of town since Friday. So she'll be with more efficient.
No, we're so excited. I'm like, oh, still going nitty gritty stuff, so.
Yeah, so we're gonna go into this because these are tools that you should be using to set the expectations. We should never make something up. Now, what's weird to me is, on the way to the airport on Friday, Audrey Tully took me to the airport and she wanted to stop by one of her upcoming listings to drop off something for the sellers, right? And I'm walking through this house and she's talking to her client. And I totally price pointed the whole property and the needs. And I was like, I still got it. And when you get in it for a while, that's just you're gonna walk through properties and you're gonna be able to price point them when you know the communities without all these tools. But I always wait to speak until I have the best sheet. Does that make sense? Even though I always feel like a price point and I feel how we can win. When they ask me, I kind of like slide the question because I'm like, well, I'm feeling this, but let me go double check things. You know, I don't want to overspeak and I'll only give them like a brief little blurb. And then I go back and when you're right on, and she's like, yes, we've mastered it. But we can't always know it. So this is the one thing out of the newsletters I just hope that you're using and that you're downloading it in the PowerPoint version because then you can just type into it and change all the info and put your photos and make it pretty. You could probably do that all in Canva too, but it already comes in PowerPoint, so you know.
That's Maricopa County.
Yes. Actually, it's Maricopa and Pinal. Because you do, okay, since I'm a redheaded stepchild, I'm totally gonna use it. It's kind of, Pinal's our redheaded stepchild. I mean, how many times now do you hear people saying, I want to live in the city of Maricopa or the town of Maricopa? And I'm like, why? It's so far.
Yeah, it's-
But there is so much affordable housing in comparison to Maricopa County. It's amazing.
Maricopa is in Pinal County?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not.
I know, right? And so is Casa Grande and the one that starts with an S. Yeah, there you go.
Tucson.
Tucson. I don't go to Tucson. Yeah, Santan. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. All right, so when we're on here, I want you guys to remember, so if you need to take notes. The 1004 MC, we're gonna not use it on the overall market today. We're gonna dig deep. Who has an upcoming listing? Okay, tell me the zip code or the city.
It is 850, I think.
I have an 85253.
Yeah.
85253. Are you okay if I use 85253? You guys okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you're always gonna use status. And the reason I'm gonna break this down is because you should do the whole overview of single family homes if you're going to a single family home. You should do the whole overview of townhouses if you're going to a townhouse. But then you need to break it down from there, kind of like I do at every office meeting. We do the entire macro market and then I break it down to the micro of our 10-mile radius, right? So you can kind of see the differences. So you're always going to select status, active through, closed. And the reason is you always have to know what's happening in the world of what's on the shelf, what's about to check out, and what has checked out. Your close of escrow date, you're actually always going back a whole year. I'm always selecting my dwelling type. And then in this case, we're going to do zip code. So I'm gonna break it down to the zip code. Could I break this down to the subdivision? Yes. However, be careful with that, because if that direct subdivision hasn't had enough activity, you might want to do like a mile radius in the same city. 253, right? All right. 1004 MC report. 1004 M as in market, C as in comps. I really have no idea what it stands for, but that's how I remember it. And the reason I use this is every appraisal report you used to get, it was included because it's what they said, it's an inclining market, it's a declining market, or it's a stable market. Because if you talk to a seller, they're either, there is no stable human when it comes to real estate. You guys know that, right? It's either the market's dreadful and it's declining and you're trying to give them uppers. I think that's why I have so many upper in me. Or the other side, it's every day is a great day. And I'm like, we're just going to get along great. I don't even have to pretend to build you up, like we're just going to keep moving forward. No matter what happens, it's great. Yeah, it is what it is and I'm happy. Okay, I'm lost or I'm super depressed and it's just going to be what it is. But that stable person's really hard to find in real estate. So this helps us stable out their mentality.
Same thing with the CNA? Okay.
No, it's not the same thing as a CMA at all. And this talks about if it's an inclining market, a declining market, or a stable market.
Okay.
All right, so 85253, a whole year, we have 604 results. Here it is. I did not put in bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, right? Because this is called a market report. This is to tell me what kind of market this area is in for single family homes. I then say view results. Now you'll be a little confused after I said that, Sarah, but that's okay. Okay, because now we're going to click on the CMA button. And I'm going to say use all results because I'm not here to, do comps. I'm not here to go, okay, here's apples to apples. And then the only one that'll be selected is statistical CMA. Don't you love the witch? I love the witch. Put the witch down there. How many of you watched Hocus Pocus 2?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I was okay. I'll let it be then.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do a spoiler. Okay. And then you hit next. And then what you're gonna always do is click off total statistics and go down to Fannie Mae 1004 MC. Yes, ma'am. And it's on the Facebook Live profile right now. And then we go down to Fannie Mae 1004 MC and we say view. You can save it. But here's what it's showing us. And this is what helps you with every personality type. And C's love this. C is your preparer, right? Your analytical one. The reason is it's fast, it's to the point. Remember median. And it is true when I started looking at this eons ago, I had to Google median did not mean average, I meant tipping point. I was like, because you remember,
I Googled that too.
yeah, you're in algebra and they have the 3 words and you're like, right. Yeah, because if you average out an area, is that fair to take a $23 million listing compared to 100,000 and be like, well, our average sales price is, it's just not going to work. So 7 to 12 months ago, when they started thinking about selling, possibly they started not liking their house. This is the point. They're like, I just don't think the reno's going to work. I don't know. I'm still comfortable. I don't like changing my world. They're at 99% of list value. And at that time, in that zip code, our median sales price was 3 million, just under 3.1 million. And our median list price was at 5.9 million a year ago. And then for April to July, right in that shift, we started selling at 100%. But also we saw price decreases, didn't we? We saw things go a little bit down right here. This is where we went a little bit down. And then our median list price sales price went to 3.6. You know why? Because we were already at 5.9. And then our median list price went to 4.2. So now we're selling at 3.6 and 4.2, but now we see the market shifting. We see the shift start occurring. Now we're only selling at 95% of list price, meaning you're listing at fair market value, but now everybody wants a deal. You know why everybody wants a deal? Because they want to either buy down their rate if they're getting a loan. Just let you know, in this price point, loans are used only because of Robert Kawasaki.
which is the man on leverage, right? Why take your cash flow like Dave Ramsey says and give it to the world where you can keep your cash and then have leverage? Because at 7%, it's still not that scary to use a loan, right? No one's making any great amount of money in the market right now, so it's not scary. So you always have to think like, where are people going? So when they use loans though, what you're seeing right now is everybody and every price point is asking for 3% again. Because why not? Because you know what they're doing with that 3%? Because most of them right now have closing costs and down payment. They're buying their rate down. So they're buying down to 5%. And a minute ago, we were buying down to 2.875, 2.5. But 5% seems like we should have kind of already been there. Probably wouldn't be in such a mess if they just stopped doing what they do in the Fed world. But now everyone's kind of freaking out, like, do I really want to pay 7? Because that's like a $200 difference in some people's loans a month, right? And this price point is thousands of dollars.
And I'm sorry, what's the code?
85253.
85253. That's why it just makes sense to me.
Oh, no.
That's okay. We're doing it.
I was like, why is it $3
I'm
million?
sorry. It's like when I speak, I'm in Buckeye, like, let's Buckeye, I'm good. I do less zeros all the time. But the thing is, no matter how many zeros, there's always 3 zeros behind that cursor, right? Which means this is overwhelming to every single human in their own price points. It's a lot of money we work with. It's a huge commitment that we work with. I'm sorry, but $395,000 for a 1,400 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage home that you have to drive an hour and a half in traffic to get to downtown Phoenix on a busy day, I think is insane. But it's where we are in the world, right? I sold houses in Surprise at $150,000 for that exact same thing.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So the inflation over 20 years is just crazy. And we've done this, but we continue to do this in Arizona. Did you guys realize we're number 8? I knew you'd have that, Lucinda.
Number 8.
You guys, we're number 8 for incoming population for Maricopa County. Maricopa County is number 8 in the country for people living here.
People all around.
So you guys are fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
But then we see that now the things are selling at 95%. So you see how this kind of helps people visually be able to realize what's going on? Now we should probably do 85028. It's gonna be way more reasonable. But then we're also seeing that we're 82 days on the market here.
Sorry, Mandy, I don't want to pull you back to what you presented, but when you said 2.9 and then 3% and 5%, are you talking about the down payment?
No, I'm talking about interest rate,
Rate by down.
rate buy downs.
Okay.
It's all good. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place today.
No. I need to keep up with this speed because sometimes you guys just have no information flow.
Oh, it's all good. You know, it's funny, as I just spent a few days with Lake Havasu Association, and we were talking about DISC and boardroom etiquette and realizing your audience. When you speak as an I am a little bit of an I, that's the party person. I move really, really, really fast. And that's not always fair to my S's in the room who are engaged, right? But they take a minute to process to answer the question because I hold my breath for 30 seconds and I'm like, I feel like I'm turning blue, I'm done. You know, and you guys are like, Mandy, we actually don't feel a delay until about like a minute, 30 seconds. You know, and so it's just a different, we're all good. You're right. You should check me more often. Yes, my friend.
Where did we get, we're number 8 from?
It was a news article. I think it was it wasn't the Phoenix Business Journal. Lucinda, do you remember? Was it Phoenix Business?
I'm close to that.
Okay.
It's the feds, they are raising the interest rate to 8. Is that what it
Oh, no. That one is, we are number 8 in the country for incoming population.
Yeah, and who was number 1?
I didn't look it up.
Wait, but that's all of Arizona, right? All of Arizona.
Really? It was
If
all?
you look at Maricopa County, at least 2 months ago, we were number 2, only after Florida. So
Okay.
I know Phoenix was way up there.
It's either Maricopa County or
was
Phoenix,
up there.
like 2 after Phoenix.
Cool. Yeah. Look up Phoenix Business Journal and just post away. Be like, this is why you call me. Like, we all know Michael's gonna go around with his new business cards and say, it's really hard to find a fantastic realtor in Arizona, that's why I'm giving you my card. You guys gotta come up with something clever like that, that'd be fun. Sorry, I could see you doing it. Yeah, I can see him doing it. So I'm gonna redo this to numbers that we like, which I like the $1 million numbers, right? They're nice. But I kind of want to know what's happening right here and where we are. 85028. So again, I hit statistical, I take off total stats because that's nothing to do with what I'm looking for, and I say view. And when I do this, this to me makes more sense.
Yeah, can you go back one screen?
That's great. You just select Fannie Mae and then you say view. Yeah, no problem. I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. I'm like, it's where I want. Okay. So 7 to 12 months ago, we were selling at 100%. And our median list price was $894. Then right before the market shifted, we were at 101% of market value. This is also known as people finally started reporting properly because we were selling at, we all know 102 to 105% of market value. But people weren't reporting on the MLS properly, and it was very frustrating because they changed the list price to meet the sales price before they went pending.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because you can look at the history. And now we're selling at 98% with an average of 44 days on the market. Okay, so knowing that we have negotiable room. So when people now as buyers say to you, let's offer $5,000 less. Okay, let's offer $5,000 less. My grandpa said, I wouldn't be doing myself justice if I didn't offer 10,000 less. Well, that might not be a good idea because we're at 98%. When a seller says, okay, if I price here, what do I expect? Should I price higher? If you price higher, the buyers that can afford your home won't see your home. And you'll be in a different competition bracket. So let's put that buffer in. Let's put the buffer of deferred maintenance in. When we get to those negotiations, let's talk to sellers about, are you comfortable here? Because let's redo that net sheet to bring them back to this is what you're going to be netting, right? So they can always visually see it. But also, hey, maybe if they offer full list price, you should offer 2% towards their buy down. It was good seeing you today, Jenna.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were digital. I was like,
My
I
neck
hit my
started
back.
hurting.
You're great.
Mhm.
So these are ways you can show them and showcase you're not losing. You're doing what the market's calling for. Stop talking to your friends that are not realtors. They don't know. They don't live this. It's funny, when you are signed up to be their realtor, sometimes they'll stop listening to you.
Oh, wow.
You become like their parent in their mind, like, don't ask my agent. They're the smart one. So they go ask a friend. You go ask my mom about real estate, she's gonna be like, well, I was watching HGTV and let me tell you what you can do. But you ask her about heart surgery and she can like break it down and like, ew. Right? So, but someone go ask my mom her advice. My brother's an IT guy. He thinks he knows everything about real estate. Everything. So I have learned if I want my brother's business, I cannot be like his sister. I have to patiently sit there and be like, you were so right. Can I add something for you to read? You know, because
Psychology.
yeah, because we know that if I say no, you're wrong, he's just gonna shut down and be like, I won't use you then. And I'm like, this ain't gonna work out for holidays. I like it when you bring the turkey. So I need to figure out ways to communicate with people without them shutting down and going to other people, right? To give them more information, to do their personality type. So visuals and the 1004 MC are two expectation setters that you really need to use. Cool? All right, now I promised you net sheet. And this is where we're gonna come into some of that compensation discussion as well. So when you're in, now please note, Rock Title has their own net calculator on their website. You can do this from an escrow company's website. I'm a controller in my life. I control everything that happens in my life, right? Until I can't. And so I like the tools that I can manipulate and use. So I'm going to teach you that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use pretty nice things from other sites. It just means you got to understand the back end first. So you doing all right?
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, your neck better? Okay, cool. So in here under menu, if you go under daily functions, it says calculators. You're always gonna select the closing cost estimator. What I will say is if you do an amortization schedule, this can be your friend too. I'm not gonna teach you to it because you can Google and create one really a lot faster than using this. But when you're trying to figure out someone's payoff, it's not a bad idea to go, okay, what's your interest? They're like 6%. I don't really know what I owe on it. I bought, you know, I put a 250 loan on it in June and you're like, let me tell you, they still owe 250. They probably owe a little bit more.
Should we also ask them to call their mortgage company, figure that out, or should we?
Oh, they can definitely do that and they can log into their portal, but I will tell you, some people just won't, or they're overwhelmed.
And just how
Their
can we
last-
click off the menu?
Yeah, it's on the menu.
That last. payment.
Yeah.
They comes with it.
But let
Read what that. And what the menu.
yeah, the payment statement's great. But if you were dealing with someone's spouse and the spouse has passed away and the spouse who passed away did all the bills.
From their social security, you go to the mortgage company's website and you'll see your statement.
But you're gonna have to sit there and be patient, walk them through that, and some of them will be
Yes.
closed down. Just know not everybody knows. A great idea is if you run into that, and it's unfortunately in the past few years, we've been running more and more into these items, right? Have the title company, before you go on the active market, no matter what you've gone in with, pull a title report to see if there's any outstanding liens on the property or any judgment. I will just tell you, if, you know, I know all three of my kids' socials by heart, their birthdays, my husband's social, his birthday, their blood types, and mine, right? But you have any of them, any of that? They don't know. And if I passed away and somebody here was kind enough to help Jake, thank you, because I have made a spreadsheet with passwords, and he's just not that guy. He's I'll go fix your AC guy, but I have no idea what Mandy's doing. So you just gotta know, I just want you to know if you need those kind of tools, they're here. And the other thing is, I like to, but I don't know if you guys know, I'm an accounting major. I like numbers a lot, and I think
I didn't know that.
yeah, and so I like to look at what they got the loan offer and when they took it out. And the other day on the phone with this gentleman who's a past client, I said, oh, so you I thought you refied about 165, so what, you're about 150? He was like 148. I was like, all right, cool. And then in my head, I was like, and I was right. But they're just discussions. So closing cost estimator, and then you hit run report. And you can see that in my life, I have created a lot of these. You can create them, you can name them anything. I save the ones I do for clients because I like to go back to it and know what I said to them, right? Like, cause do you forget things? Well, I do. I know you guys are perfect. I do.
Question about that. The information is not gonna be saved under any like a phone number or any email address.
No, it's just saved in there as
So
one of your
MLS
sheets.
Will not track your client because somebody.
No one here, I mean, MLS, we own MLS. This is not the showing time side.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you go new. And honestly, they did a whole scare tactic to you guys on that, and it's not scary. But okay, we'll talk about that another day. I always unclick displays buyer summary. The reason is because I will never make a good faith estimate for a buyer. You guys all realize every lender works different with their numbers. Okay, cool. But I will say display seller summary. Also up here, it says full version or condensed version. If you click full version, you will be tortured for 3 more hours of your listing appointment explaining why something does not apply to them. Please do not click that. Always click print condensed version. It should default to condensed version. And then I always put the seller's name and the address. And then like, I can't. It's really hard to type here. Plugged in up here. All right, and then all the red dots are required. Everything else is not required. So let's just, we'll just do the one I told you about since I already know those numbers, okay? So this one's $395. I'm going in with where I want to list it. If I took the listing this weekend, I'd probably be live in October, and I'm hoping I would go under contract, right, the first week in November. Like here's the hoping. And this is called estimated. And 1111 just sounds like a lucky number. And then closing date would be about 30 days.
2 weeks, 2 weeks for the holiday months. Also due to the fact that it's the holiday months, guys, you have to look at the calendars on what days places are open. If escrow's closed, it closes the next day. If the recorder's office is closed, it closes the next day. We're gonna have a lot of Mondays and Fridays as holidays coming up, so be really careful on your dates. Also, if you shortchange your contract, lenders can't always perform in like 5 days, you know, or 10 days. Because if you look and you take out the weekend days and the holiday days, you kind of leave them with like 7 days sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you really have to pay attention to the holidays.
So this is gonna be.
So I'm just gonna say December 16th because we went under November 11th. That
Yeah.
seems reasonable.
Cause it will be.
They won't start complaining about Christmas.
Thanksgiving and everything.
Yeah, and then we have Hanukkah and other holidays during December that places are closed and things are being observed, so make sure you pay attention to that. Property taxes, the property taxes here were about 2,100 a year, which is still super low. The HOA fee, just because I know it, but I would have looked it up, is 85 a month. And as we discussed, his payoff, he said it was 148. I always round up. The reason is the minute you're like dead on, they're off. Because is their payoff ever exactly what they just owe? No, because they got to add interest on top. There's other things. Some loans have pay off fees. Did you know that? If you pay this off early, you're going to be charged a couple $100. Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous, but whatever. And then the interest rate, since he told me he was at like 4 something, I'm just going to bump it to 6. Why? Because it's like a $20 difference. I just want it to calculate. Because when I make them a little bit more at the end, they're happy. When I make them a little bit less, even if it's $20,
It will be frustrating.
they will be mad. And that's called a commissionectomy because your job is to make them happy. So now the key thing to know is when I put these fields in, I hit tab because it's a calculator. And if you don't hit tab, you just start clicking through. It doesn't always calculate. Does that make sense? And then go down here all the way to estimated settlement charges. This is where we're going to talk about that professional service fee. This is what we call commission. If I put in 6% here, it says $23,700. Does that seem overwhelming?
Yes.
Heck yeah. So why don't I talk about the side I expect to make? Even though I'm going to make the full thing if no one else is involved. The likelihood of no one else being involved is how likely? Very slim chance. I mean, you can do it. But at the end of the day, we have over 50,000 real estate professionals in, we'll say Maricopa and Pinal County.
It was 62 during the pandemic, 1.8 million.
And we just went down a little bit in Arizona because their dues are about to come up. But so I'm going to change this to 3%. And that takes me to 11,850. So for me leaving my house, me marketing you, me putting you first, me making sure that you're taken care of, my side that I expect is at least 3% of the sales price. That equals just over $11,000. So when I start divvying out all these things, tell me what section you want me to take out if you're asking me for a price reduction, right? Because you guys realize you're taking that listing in good faith that they'll actually sell. What if nothing happens? You're out, and you're out in good faith. But if it expires and they don't relist with you, it's over. So these are things to think about. And we're going to come back to how to talk about that more in a second.
If you put 3%, then is that what you're splitting the sales? agent?
Nope, I'm not there yet. Then I go, but thank you for asking. I go down here to settlement state, add settlement, and I put 3% buyer broker commission. And then I take that amount, which was 11,185, 11,850, and I put it here. So then it's a 6% commission split 2 ways, right? I'm then going to go up to where it says, oh, wait, hang on, that shouldn't have been there. I jumped the gun. I go all the way to the very bottom and I add a settlement charge. This is where I add it. And that's where I put the 11,850. Now, please note, I'm also going to go up here. I know it doesn't like me all of a sudden, does it? Tab. I tabbed you. I'm also going to add a home warranty. I'm going to add a pretty expensive home warranty there because I like to be right. I don't like to be wrong. And I'm going to put a transfer fee because it already says HOA transfer fee. What does the seller have to pay? The disclosure fee.
But I don't have a bin that says disclosure fee, so I don't feel like typing any more numbers. So I just use the transfer fee and I put all the numbers there. Because the seller is obligated per state law to pay that, right? And they can charge up to $400 per HOA. So if there is a master HOA and a secondary HOA, how much am I putting there? Thank you.
Yep, I just want to make sure we're all on that same page. This is also where I might add some maintenance work, like buyer's inspection negotiations, like let's just predict $1,500. Things of that nature, but I might go back to this as well and redo it when we get to that stage, so they can see what their cost really looks like. But when I do that, the one thing I skipped over were these title fees. This is why escrow companies love giving us this calculator, because they'll give you their rate. But can we predict who's going to be used until there's a contract? No, I mean, we try to use people that are neutral and good at doing their job.
Sometimes they force you to use theirs, especially if there's already an open escrow.
Yeah, and you cry a lot, don't you? Because they're usually horrible. Anyways, we won't go there. Let's go back to the glasses half full. And so here, what I always do is I go up to the next 100 and add 100. So that's the 1734. I'm gonna put 1900. I'm gonna hit tab. And then that says 509. I'm gonna go 6. I'm gonna go 7. I hit tab. And why do I do that? Because I already know these are just averages. And I like them to be a bit on the higher side. If I get a great rate for them, great. I will tell you the recording fee is really $50. I will also tell you there's made up fees that usually equal $50. So I always make this $100. Because you know what, my client's not gonna question me. I know what I'm doing, you know? And if they question me, I'll just break it down. Well, this is what Alta means.
If I
This
will
is
put
what
it
title
on
insurance is.
40, is that okay?
Hmm?
If I will put this recording fee 140?
You do whatever you want. I'm just giving you my
because
example.
The open door charge that.
Oh, yeah. OS National, they are not your friend. And yes, that is recorded. Please check all paperwork at all times and know that they mess up all the time and it's not okay. And never let your client sign without you if you're working with OS National. Ever, ever, ever. It's horrible. Oh yeah, name it, test. And now you're always gonna click save. The reason you click save is everything I typed in there will erase if you don't click save. And then that's also why I have some, oh my gosh, yes, I have test. All right, we'll call this test 10. Test 10. Tab. And then I hit, come on, save. Prints. PDF, and if it erased it, it wasn't letting me hit save again. Control plus.
Would you typically save it like by the property address?
I do client names typically, because I remember people before their address.
Yeah.
But if you remember addresses better than the people, it just really hurts me when I'm in Fry's and I'm like, Elm Street, sup? I don't remember your name. And data entry is what gets me to memorize, but you do you can, because like you could do their name / their address, because if you have a buyer and a seller and you're, you know, they're doing more than one thing with you, you know, you got to label it. Or through the years, when you get repeat clients, I start putting the address next to their name because they've bought and sold with me before. But this shows that my client estimated cash to the seller should be around 216 with those numbers. If his goal was 220, and I think about taking 1% off my commission, just one, like I'm going, hey, since you're going to buy with me too, in the event that you sign a buyer broker agreement, what I'll do for you is I'll reduce the commission on the front and 1%. I can get him there because that's $3,950, and I do 2.5 on each side. That's just me. You got to think about how you're going to talk about these things, because 220 to a seller makes them feel really giggly inside. I think 216 in 5 years should make anybody feel really giggly inside. Like, oh my gosh, I've been paying this little mortgage amount. I have all this money to go buy a bigger house. Yes, let's do it. You know, so these are things you gotta kind of know. Also, if you're working with a seller who's looking to buy, so their job is to get free qual at the same time you go on the listing market, what I need you to know is this is what their lender needs to see is kind of the estimate on what we think they're gonna make, so they can start predicting how much house they can buy. Does that make sense?
If you're selling and then buying them something, do you give a discount?
I do. I give, if they sign a 6-month buyer broker at a minimum of a 3% commission with Mandy Neat, I give them 1% off the front end. Because in my life, this is just how I operate, and some people reverse this, okay? Is that my world has always needed the money to get to the next chapter, doesn't need to hope for a discount on the back end, wants it on that front end. If they refuse to sign that buyer broker with me though, it stays at 6. I've never had someone refuse that. And I actually, helped 2 of my clients. They were selling both of their houses through me, buy a house together, and now they are married. It's like, that was the way to go. You get to buy you a house and then you marry. That is the fact. It was a lovely thing. It was fun. So they both did that, and I gave them both the discount on the front end here. And I had them sign a 3% buyer broker with me. And they offered a flat fee of $2,500 on an over $600,000 property that they were going to purchase. So I did charge them, not the whole difference, but we talked about it and we came up with a happy difference between the 2,500 that was offered and the 18,000 I was owed. I think they came in with like $8 grand. So I got paid just over 10 on that one. And I was happy, they were happy. And I asked them, my heart, just so you know, I don't care how long you've been in, my heart went in my stomach. Talk about somebody's money, their livelihood, their next step. But I have to think about, I'm not in this for charity. I want to eat too. You know, it's like a big deal. And so I brought it up. We had the discussion, and at closing, I said, so what did you think about the process? How did it all go for you? Are you happy? Because that's important. And he said, it was a lot more than I expected, but I really enjoyed the process, and thank you for making this our home. And I went, oh, thank God. You know, because I just wanted to double check in, but I was able to have that conversation and make things happen, and I got 3 deals. And if I stuck really hard on one concept from the very beginning, I would have had 0 deals.
Sorry, I don't understand that money at the end where they gave you $8 grand.
Oh, because the listing agent brokerage was only willing through the seller to compensate $2,500 total as a flat fee. But I had a buyer broker that said I got 3% of that sales price, which was way closer to 18,000. And so because I had a buyer broker agreement, an employment agreement, I could enforce an invoice. And I did. So I just want you to
You
know,
made it, like, was it about half?
they paid me like $8,000. No, I made just over 10. Yeah, I got those.
During the frenzy market, the listing agents offered crazy stuff, coming to clean your property, send you a landscaper, do whatever. So I was just offering part of the package is doing the pictures.
Mhm.
Which it cost me between $350 to $600, depending on what they want, drone and not drone, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So do we add something like, hey, just in case you will be canceled, I'm gonna cover that cost, or no?
So I don't add a cancellation fee to my listing agreement, because the listing agreement in itself states that if the seller decides to cancel the listing, they owe the listing brokers the entire compensation amount. So if I have it listed for 400,000 at 6%, right, that's $24,000 total. And my agent says to the seller, because the seller goes, you know, I want to cancel, and you're like, look, just, I don't want to force anyone to sell that doesn't want to sell their house, but at the end of the day, I've incurred expenses. And my expenses are right around $1,000. So if you cut a check to Realty One Group for $1,000, I'll release you from the listing, right? And then they go, well, I'm not paying that. Where does it say that? I like to point out the cancellation clause that says, you're right. You don't have to pay us $1,000. You actually will owe us $24,000 to get me. Now, can they?
It's in the agreement though?
It's in the agreement. And the other thing is some will, if they truly didn't want to cancel. So you have to be willing to lose, okay? They'll just let it expire. They just won't cooperate. I mean, and then what are you gonna do? Take them to court over it, right? Like, that's not really worth it. But if they really want out right then, typically I've been seeing $500 to $1,000. Please note that it's a pass through the brokerage, and there is a fee to the brokerage. Okay, so someone the other day was a little upset with me because I forgot to tell her the fee. Honestly, I forgot a lot of things that week. So thank you guys all for your grace. But I was kind of like, well, we want to do something. You know, and they got it canceled. Some sellers want to for sale by owner it because you found them a buyer. You know, you got to be really clever and think about why someone's canceling. But before I let you go, something I promised you, it's 11:03, so I'm over the time with you. is one basic script to overcome the ask for a discount. So the world is changing. The world has changed a long time ago. If you're gonna lose a deal, but because you're not making 6%, you're gonna lose a lot of your deals. You have to know for your standard of practice, and I put a really great video in the newsletter that I enjoyed watching on it, of why you do what you do and what your worth is. Okay, like, I know when I leave my house, I wanna make 10 grand. Like, that's Mandy's minimum. I'm happy spending 60 days, but when I make more, I'm like, woo, right? But at the end of the day, I know that if someone's, I'm gonna look at my side, I'm gonna kind of try to finagle myself. So you have to be able to talk about the numbers. But this is how I overcome, the question of, well, I just interviewed Dave and Dave would do it for 5. First of all, I wouldn't compete with Dave and run them off, but, but they like to call, they like to make up people too. By the way, they'll say anything just try to get a discount. People, the most honest people will say just about anything, just try to make another dollar, right? Just confuse them. But they say, okay, so I'm gonna come up with someone not in the world, in the room, Sally. I just know with Sally, Sally's willing to do it for less. But you know, I fully understand. I don't even buy milk these days without a coupon. I sit there at Fry's and I go through my Fry's app for my coupon. I'm not even lying, I really do. So I completely understand you to ask me for a discount. I mean, in the world we live in, everyone deserves a discount. But I just want to ask you a question. Would you rather hire a realtor that is so fast to drop their livelihood that you have to wonder how fast they'll be able to drop your list price just to sell your house? Or do you want to work with a realtor who believes in marketing and getting you more money, even though they cost you a little bit more at the end, your net will be higher? And then I hold my breath much longer than 30 seconds. And sometimes I've caught myself like putting my hands like underneath me, just paying myself.
I love that you look at me, thank you.
No, it's so hard. I'm just telling you, it's so hard. Like, so I sit like this sometimes because we're at a table, they can't see it. And I sit, so I won't do this. So I sit there and I just wait. And I usually I hear what you're saying. No, I want to sell my house for blah, 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 blah. Great, I want to get you blah, 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 blah. Let's make it happen. And then we move forward. Other friends of mine have, and I never bring Sally back up, and I never bash Sally, even if I know Sally is bad. I don't say anything about Sally. What can we guarantee? Our service. That's all I can guarantee in this lifetime of real estate, my service. The other thing is I've had friends that show up with Mrs. Field cookies, which I don't know why they're spending all that money on people. I mean, that's a lot of chocolate chip money. But anyways, or a pizza, and they'll divide it into 6 pieces, and they'll visually show them how it's taken apart. And I kind of feel like that's a lie. Because I've never had my brokerage in all the years I've worked take 1/3 of my commission. I've had business partners do it, but not my brokerage. So you're like, so 1/3 goes to the broker, 1/3 goes to the IRS. No, that's true. That part's true. And then on my section, we have our marketing expenses we discussed today, and then what I'm going to eat off. And I'm going to spend 60 to 90 days solely focusing on you. And while I'm solely focusing on you, I want you to know that I would never ask you to stop asking your employer to pay you. So are you really asking me to ask my employer not to pay me? I don't do that one, but I have friends that do that one. I also have friends that walk in with no listing agreement. And I know you could all do this very well. And when they ask them, well, what do you want me to sign up with you? They act like they're interviewing them, that they're not being the ones to interview. And that's okay, but they're like, I'm here to decide if I'm able to take your listing and give you what you need in order to move your property. And then they e-sign all the documents to them after the fact. I personally, I'm like, if I'm showing up, I'm ready. Like, I will leave in an hour with a listing. I've only gone to one listing appointment in my 20 years. Look me up on MLS. That I didn't win the listing.
Like cancel?
No, I didn't win. They didn't sign it. Can you believe someone didn't like me? Crap. And I've never forgotten it, ever. And it was when I started doing property management. And I didn't get the rental listing to manage it. And I look back and I always think how hard that one would have been.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, should I? So we can't always dwell in what we don't win. Russell Shaw also says all the time, if you're not losing, if you're 100% batting average, you're not batting enough. Get back out there. So be willing to let it go. Be willing to walk out if you're not gonna make your minimum of you deserve. And your minimum of what you deserve is based on you, not me. Does that make sense?
I
Alright.
think that the, sorry.
You go for it.
I think the people, they come and prepare themselves to, earn a discount from you. I think they are.
How many do you think Joan Levinson gives discounts? How many zeros are on her listing? And how many times do you see her name on both sides? So why are you? You want to talk about an intimidating market?
It's a name that you built. I think you cannot allow this big discounts. Like I gave one-time discount and they left me and they went to the other guy anyway that they mentioned.
Yeah.
They went to Sally.
Yeah, no salary, we want it all with you guys, so just believe in yourself, walk in with confidence, practice in the office, practice on each other. Look out for the improv class, we are going to have Monday Mastermind next Monday, even though we also have a meeting. But we're gonna actually print out the parts of the contract that have been changed, we're gonna have a big discussion on it, cool?
Good question.
Yes.
You mentioned the improv class on October 20th. Thank you. And I do hope all of you come because it will change your life and how you think about it. But you mentioned it was in the afternoon. What time is it?
We'll get together,
1 o'clock.
I was gonna try to do 3 to 5 with these things have been shifting,
Okay, okay,
because I think we'll get more attendance.
okay, I'll let them know.
Oh, I already.
I don't mean God. I mean angels. Yeah, I'll let them know.
Yeah. Scroll up. Down. Yeah, so when you're on this sheet, if I scroll down, it actually breaks down that the estimated total settlement charges are 27,500. And that reflects up here in your settlement charges. And then you have your payoffs.
And this tool was in MLS in
Yep.
like forever, right?
Oh, forever. I've been using it since the beginning of time for me.
A little less than 4 years. This is the first time I know the calculator.
Oh, that's why I'm glad you're here, Donna.
That's, pain because of,
Thank you. Is that good, Mike?
Yeah, didn't show up online with the word.
Oh, yeah, that's my fault, probably. Oh, okay, yeah, it's Melissa's fault. His name is Matt. All right, well, I just want you to know that you all empower me every day. I appreciate your grace for the past few weeks. Thank you for everything, and I look forward to rocking one of the top months in contract in the nation is October, and there is an article on Facebook about that. So
that why?
So I do want to say Arizona County gained more residents last year than any other US county. And 2 months ago, we were